Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Hare Krishna. So we would like to welcome all the participants for this most auspicious association of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. Every Thursday we hear from Guru Maharaj, and this time we are continuing a special session on Sri Jagannath Astakam by Guru Maharaj. There will be a short quiz at the end of the session. All the devotees are kindly requested to please participate in that quiz. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Jagannath Jai. So today I decided to discuss on Jagannath. So the first verse of Jagannath has been written here, board. After we decided to read again today. Kadachit kalin tato vipin sanghi Jagannath Swami Kadachit kalin tato vipin sanghi Rama Shambhu Brahma Marupati Jagannath Swami Nayanam Jagannath Swami Kadachit kalindi tatu vipino sangito taru Mudadhiri nari vadana kamalashan Rama Shambhu Brahma Marupati Ganeshari Chittapati Jagannath Swami Nayanam Jagannath Swami So we discussed this verse last day. Kadachit means sometimes. Sometimes this personality roaming in the singing in the forest of Vrindavan like a bumblebee with great delight drinks the honey from the lotus-like faces of the tower temples. So Kadachit kalindi tatu vipino sangito taru He inundates the forest of Vrindavan, playing his Who is that personality? And Mudabhiri, with great delight, he brings the nectar or the honey, like just as the bumblebee brings the honey from the flower, so as if he is drinking the honey from the flower-like beautiful faces of the temples of personalities like Rama. Who is Rama? Shambhu, Brahma, Amarapati, Indra. Amarapati, Ganesh, Archita means worship. His feet, his lotus feet, are worshipped by these persons. Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, Brahma, Indra, Ganesh. that personality become visible to my vision. Let that personality appear on the path of my vision. Like if you consider the vision is a path, and appear there on the path so that we can see. Jagannath Swami, Nayana Pathuta. Nayana Path. Nayana means eyes, Path means path. So the path of my vision. Nayana Pathuta. Let him be the object. Let him appear on the path. Ujjain Shabbe Benu Shirashishi Picham Kotikate. Ujjain Shabbe. Uj means heart. Sabbe means left. In his left arm, Benu means the flute. In his left arm, he is holding. Ujjain Shabbe Benu Shirashishi Picham. On his Shirasi means on his head. Shiki Picham. Shiki Picham means Shiki means peacock. And Picham means feather. Shirashi, Shiki Picham. Kotikate, and around his waist, Dukulam, there is yellow silk garment. Netrante Charu Swami. And from the corner of his eye, Netra means eyes, Panta means end. Which means that from the corner of his eye, he is looking at his devotees. Charu Swami. From the corner of his eye, he is looking at his associate. And in this way, he is Sada Srimad Vrindavan Vasati. He always resides in Vrindavan Leela, performing his. So Jagannath is always in Vrindavan also. Once he goes there, he doesn't want to leave. So you better be careful when you try to take Jagannath out of the temple. To the Jagannath. He doesn't want to go. Sada Srimad Vrindavan Vasati Leela Purichayo Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathuta. Let Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, be the object of my vision. Or let Jagannath appear on the path. Maham Bodhistire Panapuruchire Nila Shikhare. Maha Ambudhi. Maha means great. And Ambudhi means ocean. Tire means on the bank of the great ocean. Panapuruchire. Kanak means gold.
In Satyuga there was no deity of the Lord. The way to see the Lord in Satyuga was by performing tapasya or meditation. And by performing meditation, meditating at the core of the heart, one could see the Lord. But that's a very long and arduous process. It takes a long time. And one had to go away to a solitary place to meditate. One cannot live in a city and meditate. One has to be in a solitary place, away from everything. And that was not possible for the king because he had his responsibility to rule the kingdom. Then all of a sudden one day, one pilgrim came to the court and he announced that the Lord is present on Niladri mountain on the bank of saltwater ocean. Just giving that information, he disappeared. Before anybody could ask him any question, he just disappeared. So now the king became very excited. After all, the Lord is present and he could have his darshan. But he had to find out where is that Niladri mountain on the bank of the saltwater ocean. So he sent different brahmanas to find out where the Lord was present. He got the information, he is there, now he'll have to find out where he was. And all the other brahmanas came back after some time without any success. The one person didn't come back was the head pujari, the head priest, Vidyapati. And in the meantime, Vidyapati, traveling in search of Niladri mountain, he came across a Savara village, exhausted, hungry, thirsty and tired. Generally the Brahmanas wouldn't go to a Savara village. Savaras are Antajas. Antaja means even below the Sudras. Antaja, outcast. They are not included within the caste. The caste system included only Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. That's the civilized society. But those who had other occupation, they actually lived away. Those other occupations, the occupations that even a Sudra will not accept. What to speak of Vaishya, Kshatriya and Brahmana. Like Chandal, whose occupation is to burn dead bodies. Chandal. They are considered to be the lowest. Then also the cobblers, those who make shoes, sweepers. And one such caste is Savara. Their business is to hunt animals. Therefore they live near the forest. So the society was very well structured. Like, who was not civilized enough was not allowed to live in the city or in the civilized area. But that doesn't mean, that's another very important consideration here. When it comes to Krishna Bhakti, everybody is allowed. Krishna Bhakti is such a thing that anybody can have the opportunity to develop relationship with Krishna. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Father, and all living entities are His children. Now, does Father make any discrimination? Oh, you are a first-class boy and you are a second-class boy, or you are a 6th class or 10th class. No. In His eyes, everyone is qualified. Only thing is that one had to surrender. So Vedic scripture is pointing that out time and time again. And Vedas are also saying, Chandalapi Dija Srishta. I just mentioned that Chandala is the lowest of all. But when a Chandal becomes a devotee, he becomes superior than a Brahmana. Chandala api Dija Srishta, meaning Dija means a Brahmana, Shreshta means superior. A Chandal becomes superior to Brahmanas, Hari Bhakti Parayana, when he accepts devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is there is a statement. In Bengali, the name of the Chandal is Dome. So he's saying that Shukar Choraye Dome, Krishna Krishna Bale. A Chandala, they keep pigs. So he is taking care of the pigs and at the same time chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there are many other classes, the Mlechas, Javanas, but we are seeing in Krishna consciousness, everybody has the right to come to Krishna consciousness. Anyway, so Vidyapati, just extremely tired and hungry, came to found a house, a village in a village and a house in a village. So he just walked into that village. That's another thing. In acute need, there's no consideration for caste and creed. When everything is honky-dory, you can say, well, I won't drink water from this person. But when you're dying of thirst, then you don't care who that person is. Okay, please give me some water. Say in the middle of a desert, a traveler is dying of thirst because the desert is extremely hot and there is no water. Yesterday I got to know that the temperature in the desert during midday is 62 degrees in Kuwait, right? 62 degrees centigrade. Can you imagine? Like it's practically boiling. And at that time, there's no water. So what happens? You're completely dying of thirst. And at that time, if somebody comes with a glass of water, then will you say, are you a Brahmana? If you're not a Brahmana, I'm not going to take the water from you. No. So, anyway, that was the condition of Vidyapati. He entered into a house in a village. And one girl came out and seeing him so tired and exhausted, told her, please take rest, and offered him some water and food, and told that her father is the leader of the Sabaras. Every society has a leader or a king. And the father is out, but wait till he comes back. So when this person, Vishabashu, came back to the house and saw a Brahmana became a guest in his house, so he became very excited. He said, please, I can see that you're very tired, so please take rest for a few days. So he accepted that invitation. And then while staying there, Vishavashu liked him so much, he asked him, please marry my daughter. Now this is another thing. A person from a higher class can marry a girl from a lower class. But a girl from a lower class, a man from a lower class cannot marry a girl from a higher class. Unless some exceptional situation. Like King Jajati, a Kshatriya, married Devjani, Sukracharya's daughter. That was an unusual situation because Devjani insisted getting married to him because he rescued him. He rescued her. And while rescuing, he lifted her by her hand. Devjani fell into a ditch and King Jajati came and found that was somebody. He heard some sound when he was hunting. Please save me, save me. And he found this beautiful girl, naked, because she got into a conflict with Vrishaparva, the king of Daita's daughter, Sharmishta. And the thing was, in a hurry, while they were dressing up, they became embarrassed seeing Narad Muni coming. So they just quickly came up. They were taking bath. And by mistake, Devjani put on Sharmishta's clothes. And Sharmishta became very upset. You dare to wear my clothes? And in this way they get into a struggle and she snatched the clothes from her and threw her in that well, dry well. So at that time, fortunately, King Jajati was hunting, so he heard the voice and rescued her from that well. So Devjani then went to her father and reported. Shukracharya became very upset. He said, well, you insulted my daughter, I'm leaving. So Vrishaparva knew that if he loses the favor of his guru, then it will be a very, very dangerous situation. So he begged him, please, please tell me, what can I do for you? So Shukracharya said, okay, my daughter is upset, let's hear what she wants. And Devjani said that I want her to become my maidservant. So Vrishaparva accepted that. Sharmishta became Devjani's princess, became Devjani's maidservant. And Devjani had another request to her father. She said that I want to marry the king because he rescued me by taking my hand. According to the Vedic culture, if a man takes a woman by hand, that is like synonymous to getting married. Jai Shri Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharaja ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani ki Jai. So, that is how Devjani got married to Now, this is an unusual situation. Devjani was the daughter of a Brahmana and Jajati was a Kshatriya. So, but it was a situation when she claimed that because he held me by my hand and offered his garment to cover myself, and he saved me in from such a situation, I have accepted him as my husband. So anyway, just an example of unusual situation can break the standard of Vedic injunctions. So Vidyapati got married to Lalita. So he is staying in that house. But he used to notice that at night, Vishwashu goes out, and in the early morning he comes back. And when he comes back, there's beautiful fragrance from his body. So he asked Lalita, where does your father go at night? And when he comes back, he gets some beautiful fragrance coming from his body. So Lalita said, actually my father goes to worship Nilamadhav. Can you imagine Vidyapati's situation? He was dancing in ecstasy, but he did not display it. He controlled his excitement. And so he asked, where is Nilamadhav? Nilamadhav, you mean the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And Lalita said, yes, my father goes to worship him. Will you please tell your father to take me to see the Lord? She said that my father is very secretive about Nilamadhav. Because those days, if it became known that a Savara is worshipping the Lord, there would be big trouble for him. Because the worshipping the Lord or even chanting the Vedic hymns were reserved for Brahmanas. So that's why Vishwashu was so secretive. So then he kept on insisting, please tell your father to take me there. So being persuaded like that, Lalita went to her father. Father, your son-in-law wants to see the deity of Nilamadhav. And he became very upset. You told him that I am worshipping Nilamadhav. She said, well, he's my husband. How can I have any secret with him? And besides that, since he's asking, what's the harm? Just show him. He wants to just see the Lord. So finally, Vishwashu agreed with the condition that he will take Vidyapati to see Nilamadhav, but he'll have to go blindfold so that he can't find out the way to Nilamadhav. And Vidyapati agreed and told Lalita to give him a handful of mustard seed. So Lalita asked, why do you need mustard seed for? Well, I'll need it to worship the Lord. And she gave him a mustard seed and he tied it up at the end of his cloth. And blindfold he was going, and what he was doing, he was dropping those mustard seeds on the way. That was his way of worshipping Nilamadhav. Why he did that, we'll come across afterwards. So, and then when he went to the place where the deity of Nilamadhav was, so Vishwashu opened his eyes and Vidyapati got the darshan of beautiful Satchidananda Vigraha of Neela Madhav, bluish Madhava, the husband of Lakshmi. And so when Vishavashu went, said, I'll just go and collect some fruits and flowers from the forest, you wait here. When Vidyapati was just waiting, he saw there was a pond and a crow that was sitting on a tree at the edge of that pond, all of a sudden died and fell onto the pond. And as he fell and got the touch of the water, immediately that crow assumed the four-armed Vaikuntha form and went back to Vaikuntha. So that is the spiritual potency of that pond and that place. Just even a crow leaving its body and getting in touch with that water of the pond could become liberated and assume the four-armed Vaikuntha form. So Vidyapati thought that, well, let me also give up my body here. So that will be the ultimate perfection of my existence. But then he heard a voice that Vidyapati, King Indradumna is waiting for you. There's a lot of things that you're meant to do. So this is not the time for you to achieve liberation. So he desisted from committing suicide. In the meantime, Vishavashu came back and he was preparing to serve Neelamadhav, worship Neelamadhav. And he heard Neelamadhav speaking. Vishavashu, for a long, long time I have accepted your service. But now the time has come that I will take the service of King Indradumna. And as soon as Vishavashu heard that, he had such deep love for the Lord that now that he would be deprived of the Lord's service, he became like mad. He just jumped up and grabbed Vidyapati. You, the traitor, you must have persuaded the Lord to give up my service and take the service of your king. I will kill you. I'll never let the Lord go away from me. No one can take my service away from the Lord. And then he said that, I would have killed you myself, but since you are my son-in-law, I won't do that. But I'll tie you up in a tree here and let these wild animals come and eat you up. They will do the job of killing you. Saying that, he tied Vidyapati up and he went back after worshipping. So when he went back, Lalita asked, Father, what happened to your son-in-law? You went with him. How come you didn't bring him back? So Vishavashu narrated what happened. And so then Lalita, naturally her husband, so she became very, very upset. She ran out of the house and started to call out to him. And in this way she was searching everywhere, calling out. And then finally she got some feeble response. I'm here, Lalita. And she found that he was tied up to a tree. And so she released him of his bond. And then Vidyapati left and went to Avanti, rather came to Avanti. Long way from Jagannath Puri to Avanti, and reported to the king, I found Nilamadhav. So king didn't want to wait. He said, let's go immediately. So he got all the arrangements made and they started for Niladri mountain. By the time, now you remember the mustard seeds? So the mustard seeds grew into plants. And following those mustard seeds, that turned into plants, mustard plants, he came to the place where Nilamadhav was. But then he found that altar is empty. So King Indradumna thought that this Vishavashu, the king of the Savaras, must have been hiding Nilamadhav somewhere. So he arrested Vishavashu and interrogated, tortured that Vishavashu in the same word. Because he also was feeling intense pain out of the separation from the Lord. He was such a devotee. That's the nature of a devotee. Sunnaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahimi. My dear Govinda, due to your separation, the whole world appears to be empty. Then Indradumna, when he couldn't get the response from Vishavashu, he interrogated other villagers and Savaras and couldn't get any response, and finally he sieged that city so that they would surrender to him. So when he sieged the city and people are suffering in that village, then he heard a voice telling him, Indradumna, it is not that Vishavashu is hiding me somewhere. Actually, I myself disappeared. And you will not be able to see me in this form as Nilamadhav anymore. But I have come floating in the ocean as a transcendental log. So you take that log and carve my deity and worship me. So immediately Vidapati, King Indradumna ran onto the ocean, and he found, yes, there was a log that came floating. So he tried to lift that log, but couldn't. Then he got all his soldiers to try to lift. Got all the soldiers, elephants, horses, still they couldn't lift. Again he was completely disappointed. Then one night he got a dream, instruction in a dream. The Lord told him that if Vidapati holds one end of the log and Vishavashu holds the other end, then they will be able to lift the log out of the water. So he immediately got Vishavashu and Vidapati, and they could very easily lift the log, just two of them. The log the entire army with elephants and horses could lift, just two of them very easily carried. So that shows the transcendental will of the Lord. And then King Indradumna arranged all the best wood carvers to carve the deity. But none of them could even make a scratch onto that wood. as soon as they would touch the wood with their instruments, chisel and hammer, just broke into pieces. Another disappointment, what to do now? Then one day a very old person came and he said, "My name is Ananta Maharana. I am a sculptor, wood carver. So I have come here. I heard that you are looking for someone to carve the form of the deity from a wood." So he said, "Yes, but you are so old. So many other best of the carvers failed. And what can you do? Don't try." He said, "No, I will do it. Not only I'll do it, but I'll do it under one condition. The condition is that I will be carving behind a closed door. And no one should come inside until the form is complete." King, you do it fine. If you can carve under any condition, I'm going to accept. So Ananta Maharana went inside the room that was where the Lord was kept, and he closed the door, and soon enough King could hear the sound of carving going on, so he became very excited. But then after a few days, after about 2 weeks, all of a sudden the sound stopped. The king was in acute anxiety. What happened? What happened? The man was so old already. Did he have a heart attack? So forgetting the promise, he just opened the door and he found 3 incomplete forms are standing there. And Ananta Maharana is never nowhere to be seen. Again the king became so disheartened that the deities were about to be manifest, that I broke my promise. And because of that the Lord couldn't manifest himself. So I'll give up this body. I'll give up this body in prayopavation. Prayopavation means sitting down without drinking and eating, sleeping, to give up the body. So then the king sat on to give up his body. Then after a few days, I think about 3 days, he had a dream. The Lord told him, "Indradumna, don't think that these forms are incomplete form of mine. These are my Satchidananda Vigraha. In this form I am present eternally in the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha. So you install me and worship me." So the king became very excited, and that is how Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra manifested. Apparently it seems to be an incomplete form, but this form is the Lord's transcendental form, eternal Satchidananda Vigraha. He is eternally present in this form, in Niladra, in Jagannath Puri. In Vaikuntha also, Dwarka, there is this Kurukshetra region where the Lord is present in his Jagannath form. That now takes us to one anecdote that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur narrated on the occasion of Ratha Yatra in All India Radio. All India Radio, Calcutta. In those days there was no TV channel and things, videos. The main thing was radio. I remember we used to get stuck to the radios. And Friday evening there used to be drama in the radio. And you'd just wait for that, to listen to the drama. On Saturday and Sunday afternoon, I think from 1:30 to 2 or something like that, there used to be a thing called Anurodher Ashur. The session of request. So people could request different songs and they would play those songs in the radio. Radio was a big thing those days. Cricket match. There used to be a running commentary on radio. So radio was a big thing those days. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave an incident. How come this form of the Lord is eternal? Where this form is present in the spiritual world. He said that in this form he is present in the spiritual world. And he narrated this anecdote. The queens of Dwarka used to see that Krishna is extremely attached to Vrindavan. And they used to always wonder that we are trying to serve the Lord to the best of our ability. We are giving Him all the attention, providing Him with everything that is needed. And Dwarka is the supreme situation of Vaikuntha. So how come the Lord is not satisfied here? During the day, He seems to be absent-minded all the time, as if His mind is somewhere else. And at night, in sleep, He goes somewhere else. And He calls out, Radhe, Lalite, Vishakhe, Shamali, Dhavali, Boshudam, Shridam, Sudam, Badutapa. Oh Mother, why are you so angry with me? So Krishna, in his sleep, you speak like that. So they could understand that in his sleep also he goes somewhere else. And what is that place? Vrindavan. And they became curious to know about Vrindavan. What is there in Vrindavan? So the only person could possibly tell them about Vrindavan was Mother Rohini. And she was the one who was there during Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, Krishna Balaram's Vrindavan pastimes. So they approached, please tell us what is there in Vrindavan. So Mother Rohini said, okay, I will tell you. When Krishna and Balaram won't be around, because if they happen to hear the Vrindavan pastimes, they will be very, very heartbroken. Already he is feeling such intense separation. So they agreed. And one day Krishna and Balaram were away. So the queens approached Mother Rohini. Now please tell us. So Rohini just sat with them. And Subhadra was kept at the entrance, at the gate of the room, doorway. If anyone comes, inform us. Because no one else should hear about this. Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes is kept as such a secret. You know how Sukadeva Goswami heard Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Sukha was a parrot. And Parvati wanted to hear about Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, Braja Leela, to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said, okay, but the place has to be completely free from all living entities. No one else should hear that. But Sukha just appeared there. That was also another thing. Lord Shiva disregarded one broken egg. He thought, it's a broken egg, there's nothing to worry about. But from that broken egg came that parrot, Sukha. And he was sitting up on a tree. Under the tree, Lord Shiva was telling Parvati. And Parvati was listening and she was responding, oh. But all of a sudden Parvati fell asleep. Then Shuka thought that if Lord Shiva finds out that Parvati fell asleep, then he won't narrate. So on behalf of Parvati, he started responding, And then all of a sudden Parvati woke up and said, my Lord, then what happened? Then what happened? What? I fell asleep. And who was telling that? Who? Who means, yeah. And then he looked around and saw that parrot. He became so angry that he wanted to kill that parrot. You trespasser. And then he was chasing the parrot, and the parrot was running for his life. And at that time, Vasudev was telling his wife about Vedas. And she was feeling tired, and she yawned, opened her mouth, and the parrot went straight into her mouth, inside her mouth. So that's how Sukadev, a parrot from parrot, actually became Sukadev, hearing about Lord Krishna's pastimes. So anyway, so Rohini was very careful that nobody else comes there. So Subhadra was kept as the gatekeeper, doorkeeper. Now in the meantime, Krishna and Balaram appeared. Subhadra wanted to warn, stop it. But her voice was choked out of ecstasy. By hearing the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan, she became so excited that she couldn't speak. Kanthavaro vidho, or Nayanam gadgada, Badanam gadgada ruddhaya gira. So she couldn't inform, but she stopped Krishna and Balaram from entering by stretching her arms. And Krishna and Balaram kept on hearing, standing there. And Krishna assumed this beautiful form where his face lit up with a beautiful smile. His eyes became like two blooming lotuses, and his hands stretched forward. As he was hearing about the residents of Vrindavan, he wanted to embrace them. And that is Lord Jagannath. Balaram also got induced by the same mood, assumed the same form. So did Subhadra. But Subhadra was feeling so guilty that he stopped Krishna Balaram by spreading her arms, that she withdrew her arms within her. Her arms got withdrawn inside the body. That is how Krishna and Balaram's hands are stretched forward, desiring to embrace their devotees, and Subhadra's hands disappeared. So this is how the Lord is eternally present in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, in this mode.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees. So we apologize for the initial the disturbances. Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. We request devotees that they can appear for the quiz, and meanwhile we can read the quote. It's 8th July, today's quote. The quiz link has been mentioned in the chat box. July 2007. A devotee is not devoid of desires. He is full of desires, but his desires are only centered around Krishna. He wants to do things for Krishna, and when he desires for Krishna, then Krishna provides everything to achieve it. This is the meaning of becoming empowered by Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 5th chapter, verse 32. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj ki. So, devotees can appear for the quiz. Quiz has been mentioned in the chat box. Devotees can see the result as well. Total there are 41 participants. So, I request all devotees can take part in the quiz. There are 7 questions are there. Krishna Bhushan Prabhu with 3 attempts is in the first rank. Divya Damodar Prabhu, and then Saurabh Prabhu, Sauravi Mataji, Arpita Mataji, Shyam Keshav Prabhu, Sangeet Mandal Prabhu, Sangeeta Mandal Mataji, Soumya Mataji, Prem Avatar Prabhu, Sankarshan Nitai Prabhu, Rajiv Prabhu, Sundar Nitai Prabhu, Kund Priya Prabhu, Gaurangi Gopika Mataji, Suri Radhika Mataji, Dharmila Datta Mataji, Sankarshan Balram Prabhu, Shiven Prabhu, Madhurjo Ghosh Prabhu, Sudevi Mataji, Hindu Vadini Mataji. So, we will show the result as well. So, let's see. Picham, the feather of peacock. Business of Savar is hunting. in acute condition, when Balram is thirsty or hungry, when Brahman is thirsty or hungry, then still he should not eat in home of Shudra. Correct answer is true. Correct answer is false. Somehow it is mentioned. So those devotees who have mentioned false, that is true. Here somehow it is correct answer is mentioning as true, but all actually answer is false. So I apologize again for that. Bhakti is for all castes. And regarding this, Guru Maharaj gave analogy of father. Guru Maharaj said that just like a father does not discriminate any of his children, similarly, God also does not discriminate and gives the bhakti to every caste. Marriage of Vidyapati and Lalita was not as per the Vedic standard, and second, marriage of Yayati and Devyani was not as per Vedic standard. First is false, second is true. If a Chandal is devotee of Lord, he is equivalent to Brahman. Brahman, false. The correct answer is superior to Brahman. And who told that if Vidyapati and Vishu holds the two end of block, then you can easily bring that block. It's the God who came in the dream of King Indradumna, and he said that. Okay, so thank you very much. I can see that this question number 3, the correct answer should be false, but many devotees have written false, I expect, but the answer is somehow saying true. So they would have not got correct rank as well. Thank you for everyone, but please apologize for the mistakes which happened today, and bless us so that we can serve nicely to devotees and all the devotees. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.